Welcome to the initial Low Man Help podcast. I'm Marc Campbell. This is Daniel Green. We are here today to talk about the NBA Cup, the preview of the in-season tournament. This is going to be a special event for us. Hopefully we'll do way more during the year of this. Daniel, welcome to the pod.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you having me on. It's been a while since I've been called Daniel, but it's cool. I'm with that.
That's your government, right?
It's my new name for this pod. We can be Daniel for this pod for sure.
This is, for those that don't know, Danny and I went to Carolina together. We were roommates together. We have known each other close to 20 years. We've known each other now more than half of our life. So
yeah, that's wild.
We're getting old. And first off, getting old, and B, have a little bit of history. So we're excited to do this. This is a terrible intro, but our first time, and we'll only get better.
Yeah, hell yeah.
There you go.
Let's have fun with it. It's about having fun. Let's have fun.
All right, here we go. So we're going NBA Cup. This is a new thing. I'm going to lead us off. We've got Group A in the East. I took the East. You took the West. I do not know who you picked. You do not know who I picked. So Group A for the East, we've got Knicks, Philly, Orlando, Charlotte, and Brooklyn. I believe the New York Knicks are coming out of this group. I'm not really sold on the Knicks as a thing for the year, but I think in this group, Embiid's first game back, I feel like they get Embiid tomorrow night in Philly. I feel like it's the best opportunity to get him, and I really, truly believe whoever comes out of that game is winning this group. There's not a lot of talent in Orlando, Charlotte, and Brooklyn right now to challenge these teams.
I don't dislike your pick. I think that's a good pick. Mind you, I do think the Knicks beat Philly tonight with Joel's first game back. They are in Philly. He'll be on minute restriction more than likely. I know he's going to try to push it because he's very competitive and likes to compete against Cat. But ultimately, him and PG haven't played together before. It's their first time. It'll be a good game, but they'll ultimately lose.
Him and Cat have a little thing, don't they? They got a little funk to them. They got a little stink, don't they?
They're good now, but they're just competitors. I don't know if you remember back in the day, they had a little scrap on the court. It was Godzilla King Kong type situation.
Mm-hmm.
Just two big boys going. Yeah. So, but they've been good since then. But they still compete. Just like when Joel plays against Jokic. The top bigs in the league want to compete against each other and show I'm big dog.
All right, let's dig into my group. Let's dig into East. Let's go a little bit deeper. I like the Knicks because of Cat in these situations. I think that these games from last year, what it looked like, it wasn't quite playoff type of coverage. Like, we didn't really get, I like to think of it as like Seth Partnow's GTO, game theory optimal, versus FEP, fully exploitative play. And so like GTO being the regular season, you're just working on your habits, fully exploitative play being playoffs, like you have to solve this one problem or we're not going to move on. And I felt like the NBA Cup was somewhere in between. And so I feel like the Knicks have a layer in their offense with Cat and him in the pick and roll with Brunson where you can't really do a lot of stuff that you feel good about. Because if you play drop, if you play level stuff, you play anything where he's popping, right now in the league, he's number one in terms of a screener with at least 150 screens set per game or for the season. So 15 per game, according to Second Spectrum. There's 33 guys that qualify, basically all the starting fives, and he's at 1.161 points per possession. And so
that's
for me,
really
and
good.
And if you switch it, what are you going to do? You're going to put Joe on an island with Brunson? You don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So to me, they have that layer where they've got one thing. And if you can rotate out of it.
Damn near unstoppable.
And you rotate out from the backside. Okay, you can bring the next guy. But then Anunoby, Hart, Bridges, none of these guys are shooters. But if they're playing 2-on-1 on the backside or 1-on-0 on the backside, like they can attack downhill and play from that. So I feel like that pick and roll combination against a team where you're going to run it over and over and over again, and you're going to put Embiid in the action or somebody smaller. I like them to win this game. And if you win this game, I feel like you're kind of like rolling downhill in this group.
For sure. Just for fun, I'm going to throw my little pointers out there for the East. If Paolo Banchero was not hurt, I would have picked Orlando.
Would you?
Yeah, I would have picked Orlando for the East. Just winning the East outright. But because I just think
this group, right? This group of Philly, New York, Orlando, Chicago, Brooklyn.
Yeah. But Paolo's hurt, obviously. I just don't like New York's depth. lack thereof. They don't have any
What is
depth.
there to like about depth? What depth?
All they have is Deuce McBride. They have nothing off the bench. That's why I don't like. I don't like that they don't have depth.
I
They're
saw
very
a tweet
front loaded.
today. Let me read you this tweet.
It's like Denver too. They're very front loaded. There's nothing off the bench for them.
Yeah.
Just
This
like
is
Milwaukee.
Knicks
Obviously,
Muse.
Milwaukee looks really bad, so it's hard to compare anybody to Milwaukee. Right now, they're really bad because they have just Giannis and Dame, and if those two aren't even clicking, even if they are clicking, they don't have a chance to win because they don't have any much scoring. Bobby Portis picks up a little bit, but it's New York. I think struggles with the same situation off the bench, and it's just Deuce.
Yeah. So this was Knicks Muse. I saw this today. So the Knicks in the 9th game this year, so the one that they just played, 29 minutes for McBride, 9 for Sims, 1 for Tyler Kolek. Last year in their 9th game, this was off the bench. 27 for Hart, 26 for Quickly, 23 for DiVincenzo, 18 for Hartenstein, 3 for McBride. And they've consolidated and they have more top-end talent that you like in the playoffs because Tibbs is only going to play 6 guys no matter what. But he's only playing 6, 7 guys right now. They're not going to make it there with this. But for now, for November Tibbs playoff rotation, I'm in.
I hope they make it with that 6-man rotation. Like I said, they need Mitch Robinson back very much so.
They need anybody.
They need some help. And I honestly think would be to bring one of those guys off the, like I'm saying, bring a Josh Hart, somehow mix it in where one of those scorers come off either Mikal Bridges or, OG, I don't say OG, but you want Mikal to be Mikal. I think you bring him off the bench and let him be,
I think it's got to be hard because you can't take. Speaking of Mikal, okay, Mikal, they gave up a lot. Here's what I'm telling you what they gave up for Mikal: 4 unprotected first, a protected swap this year from the Bucks, which could actually be really good. A swap in 28. This is Mikal through 9 games. Career high in minutes, almost 38. Career low in free throw attempts, makes, and percentage. So he's only attempting less than a free throw a game, 0.9. From the free throw, this is the dude that really has the ball in his hand, shooting 50% from the free throw line. And then here's his corner 3 breakdown. Corner 3, 51.7%. Above the break, 15.2%. I know a lot's been made of his shooting, and you and I probably know this well enough, and this might not be something that's a common thing, but what is it, 1.5 feet or something? That matters so much for shooters in the NBA. It's wild how the percentages change.
Yeah, the comfort level of him being in a spot that he's comfortable in.
But you can't stick him in the corner. He's not a $10 million player.
Exactly.
And they gave up all this. He's got to be involved in the offense.
And that's why I think it's not saying that he needs to. He'll have the ball more in his hands if he comes in the second unit. I know it's crazy to say that or to put it
they can't do
be in a Jamal Crawford role, but if you want him to be just like with Phoenix, I think Bradley Beal needs to come off the bench. If he's able to operate the way he wants to operate, those guys should come. And that's it's not like trying to downgrade them or what I'm saying, devalue them. It's just it just makes sense that you have your own unit to work with. You had Jalen Brunson in the first starting, he's going to have the ball in his hands a lot.
Yeah.
So
you think they need to switch him into that Brooklyn role that he was in, where it's hey, this is your offense. Go ahead and cook for 15, 12 minutes a game.
It also makes you deeper, but you just got to find some other people to fill in, the spots and fill in the role. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got to find some type of package to get. You lost some depth, but yes, ultimately for me, I think they're a solid pick. Said if Paolo was healthy, Orlando would have been my pick, but solid pick, man. I'm with you on that. Want to go to the B group?
I'm gonna read you your A group from the West. So here's who we have from A. You tell me who you have coming out of it. We've got Minnesota, Sacramento, the LA Clippers, the Houston Rockets, and the Portland Trailblazers. Who you got?
I had Houston, and I had the Clippers. I had Houston. I had the Clippers as a wild card. I told you these are Minnesota right now.
Tell me why Houston.
Figuring it out
because I'm not sold on Houston right now. Tell me why Houston.
I just think they have more familiarity than the other groups. Sacramento's still figuring out with DeMar.
More than the team that went to the Western Conference Finals last year?
Yeah, they traded for Julius. They still figured out Julius and Dante DiVincenzo. You got new pieces on both these groups. Minnesota has new pieces. Clippers lost a piece and got new pieces. Portland is just Portland. Sacramento figuring out DeMar. These groups are still trying to figure it out. I think Houston, up and down, great pace, randomly, they have some good guys that have been there to get to Sengun and Jalen Green have figured out how to play each other a little bit better.
You like
but because,
that?
Yes, Steven Adams is back now healthy. They have some depth. They have a lot of the same players we talked about, which could be good or bad. But I like the depth they have. and just set the pace that they play at. They got Fred at the point guard. You got Dylan there. They got a lot of guys that know their role.
Do they
And I
have
think
too much stuff? Like, do they have too much
they
stuff
do.
where guys don't know their roles and it's like,
I think guys know their roles, but they do have too much. And I think eventually they're going to have to package some of those guys to get something else. You know what I'm saying? Because the Cam Whitmores, like the Thompsons, like those guys, a bunch of athletic wings, which is great to have, especially when you're throughout an 82 game season, you're going to have some injuries. But I said I do like their depth, but eventually they're going to have to package somebody to get something
they're
different.
they're prime for that consolidation, right?
They got the rookie coming up. He barely plays, and he is very good. Shepherd,
Reed?
Yeah, Reed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You like him?
He's good. He's solid.
Yeah?
He's a very good, and he barely plays. But I do like them, and I said once again, this is a NCAA tournament type of thing, and for some reason I just like Houston for that type of weird setup. Anyway,
can I have a different group team than you?
You sure can.
I really like Minnesota. I know they tricked one off the other night against Miami. That was bad. That was very, very bad. It wasn't just the last play. Like I think that's a clean switch. I don't know why Alexander Walker hesitated for a second, but I felt like that was bad. But it was more so the whole quarter. Like they just kept giving the ball away. They kept not finishing off. Miami was giving the ball away. They couldn't finish off any turnover. They really gave that one up. But Finch is in this. Right now, he's in the same kind of mindset as Tibbs. He's got an 8-man rotation, and they're 8 starters. I'm in on them in these games. I love that these games have a little more bite to them, and I like that his rotation is really tight right now for them to win. The bench unit of Alexander Walker, Naz Reid, and DiVincenzo is wrecking people right now. Right?
I like their
You
depth,
like that, right? Yeah, okay. Here's according to Cleaning the Glass. That unit is plus 22.5 when they play. That's 99th percentile. They've played 307 possessions together. Points per 100, they're at 122.1. Effective field goal, they're at 60.3, and then they lock up. Points per 100 on defense, 99.7. So they're getting out and playing in transition because they're getting stops. And then 49.6 effective field goal against them. So they're in the top 90 percentile in defense and offense. They get stops, they run. All those dudes know how to play playoff minutes. It's one of those things where they all have role definition, role clarity, role enthusiasm. Like they're bought in on what they're doing.
For sure. But like last night, I think they show some inconsistency. And that's why they have one bad Tuesday, Thursday night.
But this group isn't going to be like, I think the top group that we just talked about from the East, like you're going to have to go undefeated because like Philly's going to win all those games. I think if Embiid's back, New York's going to win all those games. They should. But like this one, I think one loss would win this one, right? Sacramento's pretty good. The Clippers are good. Houston's pretty good. Portland, wah, wah.
Yeah.
But like other than that, like
fair. I just don't see Ant or them exerting because obviously it's only 1 year in. This is second year, so
I think
I can't say traditionally, the teams that exert the energy for this just drop off after Christmas or after New Year, and they don't do as well. But last year, what I've seen from Indiana, from the Lakers, after that Cup game, they just took a dive. I don't know if teams are recognizing that or seeing that and I don't know if Minnesota wants to exert that energy to win this Cup game when they see the bigger picture of trying to be back in the Western Conference Finals. So,
can we talk about Ant for 1 minute? Yeah, go ahead.
Sure can. Ant's going to do his thing. But I see he has too much to carry. He has too much of a load to carry, I feel like, especially scoring-wise, and I can see it wearing him down. They're going to have to find some, and I like Julius there. I like Naz. I like their bench. Naz and DiVincenzo off the bench.
They're really good.
I feel like the starting unit, McDaniels, Mike Conley, this is not enough there to help Ant feel, you know what I'm saying? Like not have to carry as much of a load offensively. And him trying to take on that challenge of being a two-way player and guarding the best guy, best player, other team's best player on the other end. That's going to take a toll on him.
Have you seen him live yet? Like not pick up in the summer, but like live in a real game?
I played against them.
This is the
younger version.
But like watched him since you've been done.
Not as of late. Not his last year or two. Not last year. I haven't seen him up close in a year or so. When he was younger, though, it's different. He's a very different player than when
he's different now, right?
Yeah, he's a very different player.
Because for me, I saw him last year live. I was going out to visit somebody and I saw him, and he was. As soon as I saw him live, I was like, "That's the guy that I would pay money to go see."
100%. Him and Ja, human highlights. I will say this year he is taking almost damn near double the amount of attempts from 3-point line. He's settling more.
You
And
think it's
that's
a settle?
where, the league is changing. I think it's a little more of a settle than it should, because he can get to the rim. He's a good shooter. I wouldn't say a great 3-point shooter, but he's solid and he gets hot. He can get hot. But the league, obviously, everybody's changing to shooting 40 to 50 threes a game, and even superstars are shooting more. He's taking a ton more attempts from three, even though he was shooting it well. But I don't see how well that lasts or stays consistent throughout the year. I think he has to get downhill more, put pressure on the defense, be like James Harden was in his prime, get to the free throw line a lot, which slows the game down. It helps him reserve some energy. You know what I'm saying? You get to that free throw line, it gives you a break here and there, gives you some easy baskets, gets you in rhythm. If he doesn't do that and he continues to settle, I don't know. Once again, I don't know how well he'll upkeep that.
See, I think when I saw him last year, there were two things that really jumped. Like, one, how big he is. Like, he's a tank. He is a tank.
I feel like he's, since his rookie or second year, he's definitely gotten more of a presence. Because when I first seen him, I was like, he's not that tall. When I first seen him, when I played to sit next to him, like, he's not that tall. Last time I seen him, I think it was All-Star Weekend. I was like, damn, he looks like he's a lot taller and bigger than what he was. And I was like, damn, because when I first saw him, I was like, shit, he did a windmill in the game on us in Philly. And I was like, damn, for him to windmill like that. And I'm like, he's Seth's height, like him and Seth Curry. Seth was on the team at the time. I'm looking at him like, damn it. I'm like, he is not that tall. He has super bounce if he can do that in a game. If he's not, but now look at him like, oh, he's taller. He's bigger.
He's so broad. He's a presence. You can't bump him off any line. Like, he gets to where he wants to go. I think he's getting better at, like, the point of attack, like having that neutral moment where it's not just one speed, one level, one direction. He's getting neutral to attack, neutral to shot, neutral to counters. And I feel like he's setting, a little bit of a Rolodex right now. I think he's using the regular season because he knows what he needs to get to in the playoffs. I don't think he's a 12-3 per game shooter, but I think he's like going through the regular season. Like, I want to get these reps up. I want to know what it feels like to get to this place, because he saw Luka beat them doing that. He saw like teams stretching the defense on him. And I think he knows that there's a gear he can get to downhill whenever he wants. Like, truly, he can get downhill whenever he wants, but I think there's a gear he knows he has to get to shooting it. And I think he's working through the regular season to get the reps up and feel comfortable, which is like kind of scary that at this point he's playing around in that vein. Okay. Yeah. We're going to Group B in the East. And worth the price of admission. Okay. Group B, East. Milwaukee, Indiana, Miami, Detroit, Toronto. For me, this is my first team that's not favored by Vegas. I'm going Indiana. I'm all in on the Pacers. I really think that they had Boston in the toughest series throughout the whole playoffs last year. I think there's a chance that could have been 2-2 and it wouldn't have been like a ball.
Who else in that group? Miami,
Detroit, Toronto, Milwaukee. Okay. Milwaukee's favored to win this group.
That's kind of crazy.
We'll talk about Milwaukee.
Are those odds have changed? Have those odds changed?
No. They're favored by quite a bit. Vegas knows.
What is Vegas doing?
Vegas knows. All right. So for me, I like Indy in the same way that I like New York, in terms of they have actions they can get to that you can't counter, or you can't, put it in a box. Like, a lot of pick and rolls, you can put it in a box to be like, okay, like Valanciunas, sure, shoot. If you want to shoot 10, you're not going to shoot 10. Like, we make one, we don't believe you. Or whether it's like Ja in the playoffs, like when the Lakers beat them, like, you can go under everything. Like, we shoot 13 of them. We don't believe you're going to beat us this way. And like, we're not going to put ourselves in rotation. I think Indy can get to stuff with Halliburton, Turner, where there's not a great solution. And so Turner, for me, and Halliburton, they're in that space in terms of a two-man game. And Hallie, to me, he's my favorite offensive engine. I am a sucker for a dude that like just secondary break, hit ahead, pick and roll.
Kicks the ball ahead.
I'm a sucker for that.
Kendall Marshall.
Oh man.
I love it too.
The past 2 years when I worked with point guards in the league that were kind of like converting to it, he was the teaching tape that I would go through when it came to like outlet passes. Like, this is, if you don't have it going this way with your back to the sideline, you got to be cutting across the court right now to catch it on the run. He's so good at catching outlet passes and then catching it where he's moving forward, where he's catching on the run. I'm a sucker for that. So they're my pick. I like them in these settings. And then I was digging into him today on Second Spectrum. Let me hit you with this. So as poor as he's been, and everybody's been on him this year, he's still number 2 in the league in points per direct pick and rolls. with a minimum of 200 set. The only one above him is Tyler Hero, who's on an absolute heater.
Mhm.
But in their 5 wins, he's at 1.253 points per direct pick and roll, and he's running 33.5 a game. In their 5 losses, he's at 1.069 points per direct, and he's running 26.5 a game. So like,
Yeah.
and when he's in it, when he's in the pick and roll, and he's really like feeling himself, and he's one cut, quick decision making, like on the move. To me, he's my favorite right now, and there's not many better.
I like him. I think he's very inconsistent. You know, earlier I had the debate with some fellow friends.
You
LaMelo
have those?
Ball. Yeah, we have those. They're in there. LaMelo Ball or Tyrese Halliburton. And Hallie, I was like, yo, he's a high IQ player. And he had games where he had 20 assist games. You know what I'm saying? Not only can he score, but he makes his teammates better. I love that he pushes the pace. This year has started out very shaky for me in my eyes. For like he's just very up and down.
Can you tell
have a
me
good
where you
game.
went on the LaMelo Hallie? What side did you
I went
fall on?
Hallie. I went Hallie, but right now he's making my argument. LaMelo's making my argument look not bad, just not like a good one. LaMelo's been putting up like he's on a crazy heater.
He's so talented, but he doesn't play adult basketball. Like you can't trust him.
That was my argument.
He's not a real
we don't
adult.
know.
Like yeah,
It just looks funny. It looks funny, but he's been getting it done. They beat some decent teams. He's in games with a lot of teams, and this year he said he's way more consistent than he was last year. If he stays healthy, that argument is a lot. Like to me, I was like,
he's
hands
so
down,
talented.
Halliburton. But he's so talented. And the way he's shooting the 3 ball right now, he's been playing unbelievably.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
but Hallie, they matched up the other day, and the numbers just was very lopsided, and it made the argument like, damn.
Yeah.
You know,
he can really go.
With Indiana, they're just very. I love their pace. I love, and they're familiar with this, so I like the pick. They're just inconsistent up and down for me, but I do love their pick because of the familiarity with the tournament, with each other. They have everybody back. They added Pascal another year or more, time with Pascal since last year, and everybody else in the group to me just wasn't very strong. The Miami's is inconsistent. Milwaukee's inconsistent.
Yeah.
Detroit got better,
bad.
but still
They're not
bad. They have a lot of good pieces, but they're
do you
just
like
not
Cade
there yet. I like Cade a lot.
But okay, let me put it in context. Do you like Cade as like is Cade a number one option on a good team, or do you like Cade as like, oh, Cade's nice, he's like a good player?
On a good team, I think 2 or 3. I think he's a very good player. I think he needs help. We don't know until he gets actually another star. He needs 1 star for sure, and then we see who has. And then he needs 2 good pieces. He needs 1 star and another really good super role player. But he has some good pieces. Like I said, they have some good pieces. I like him a lot. I think he could be a really good 2 option on a really good team, or a 3 option.
He cares.
If they want to win. He's very good. I like him.
When you see him playing, like he cares. Like he's got there's some dudes that like you can see them out there and you can be like, like he's kind of going through it. Like when I see Cade play, like Cade really gives a shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on to my B group.
Yeah. Let me read your B group. Okay. Oklahoma City, LA Lakers, Phoenix Suns, San Antonio Spurs, Utah Jazz. Who you got?
Yeah. I have Phoenix. Surprisingly, I wouldn't have had them
even without Kevin Durant.
The year started. Yes. This group, once again, they just don't. OKC losing Chet, I think, hurts them a lot. And OKC said, mind you, going back to NCAA tournament, OKC, I could feel they'll drop a game, especially without Chet being there. Isaiah Hartenstein's been in and out. Like, you never know when he's 100% healthy or not. Also said the other part of the bracket seems weak to me. San Antonio, Utah, only other team would be Lakers. And I think Lakers are still very much inconsistent, and JJ being new with the head coach and D'Lo and trying to get D'Lo to buy into things, bringing them off the bench. They're up and down to the starting unit. They have Cam Reddish in there now. So I just like Phoenix because they're playing very well. Brad showed some signs of some good positive things the other night. He played well, even with KD being out. But I mean, how long is KD being out? I don't see him being out that long.
I think they said like 2 weeks to be reevaluated or something like that. So maybe like 10 more days. But like I would assume that he's not in these. Honestly, I'd be shocked if Phoenix comes out of it. I wouldn't be shocked if the Lakers make it, only because obviously it's all fair in the NBA, and there's no bias, and there's no calls
Mind
towards no way are they getting extra fair beneficial.
They get to the free throw line more than anybody else. But I will say I did make this pick before KD got hurt. So and I wanted to stick with it. And then, KD In Phoenix, they've been rolling. They got like Tyrese. So LA, I think also they noticed how much energy they had to exert to win this last year. I don't know how much they buy into it and how much they'll rest the AD. Him coming in and out. He had that heel issue. Braun might get rested a game or so. He is 40.
No way.
About to be
They're
40
going
now.
for this. They're defending the title. They put a banner up for this. They're going for this.
They did.
They're going for this. Can
But
I ask you a
after that,
question?
They took a dive, so I'm like, I don't think they see this as important as it was last year.
All right. When you played for the Lakers, so you've played for how many teams? 6, 7?
Yes,
6.
I think 6.
Okay. All right. So when you played for the Lakers versus the other teams, how consciously aware were you that like if I kind of get bumped, like a 50-50 bump, I'm going to the line? Like, how consciously aware were you of it versus any other team that you played for?
For me, no. For my teammates, possibly. Like the other guys, like I said, we had Bron, AD. Of course, we had
like those dudes
Rondo,
know how to grift.
They know how to do it. Certain role players ain't getting the call, but I knew like when it came down to it, 50-50, it might lean toward us more than the other team.
Like it's got to be 60-40, right?
Yes, we had Dwight, we had Rondo, we had a lot of Hall of Famers, and even Avery Bradley, Alex Caruso. We had some guys. We had a group of guys that were known, and it's like vet calls, respect calls. Those guys are gonna get those vet respect calls more than the other guys. We just had that.
Yeah. So you were aware. Okay. Can I sell you on OKC even without Chet?
Yes, because of KD being out, that is more of a sell than the Lakers. But yes, please sell me on OKC. Tell me what you got. Give me the numbers.
I just want to run through these defensive numbers, and you're going to say yes, but it's not Chet. But like these are out of control. All right. Number one net rating, plus 12.5 a game. Number one defensive rating, 100 points per game. In today's NBA, that's out of control. Number one steals per game, 12 a game. Number one blocks per game, 7.2. Number one deflections per game, almost 23.
Active.
What?
They're young and getting to it.
What? Did you see the game where I don't think they'll be able to do this. This is more like a change-up pitch, like almost like Iggy death lineup in Golden State. But did you see when they went Caruso at the 5 in Portland? Like they've done Caruso at the 5. It gets disgusting.
They're gonna have to do that now.
They're everywhere. They're absolutely everywhere.
Yeah, they're gonna have to do that now. They're gonna play small with AC because with Chet being out, they're gonna have to have some defensive guys out there scrambling.
I don't know. I wonder if they get iHeart back in any of the stretch. They could really use them, Hartenstein. I think one of the things that I like about them, I heard somebody describe them as this. It was on Twitter. Obviously, Twitter's a wild place, but sometimes you can pull a nugget from there. So somebody described them as the AAU team of the NBA, where like they have a top dog. They're young. Everybody knows who the top dog is, and everybody knows like where they fit around them. Like to me, that's probably the best example or like analogy of them. And then I love teams that know exactly who they are. Like they have self-awareness. They know who they are. They have that.
They support each other too. They love to see everybody else do well. They get in the media with each other together. They do interviews together. Like this is a team that cares about the game and cares for each other. And that they have care. It goes a long way.
Yes.
It goes a long way.
All right. According to Second Spectrum, number one in drives per season, 633. I love that they know who they are. They know how they're attacking. And like when you're getting that many drives, you're putting the defense in rotation so many times. They're playing with the stops. They're playing, transition, secondary break. So like already a loose shell. And then with the drives, like they're cracking the shell. They're playing against rotations more so than any other team. I'm in on that. I like that. I think they got a chance to win that even without Chet. Okay.
C
groups. All right. In the East, Boston, Cleveland, Chicago, Atlanta, Washington. This is one game and one game only that will decide it. Boston versus Cleveland, and it's in Boston. So I'm going Boston. Yes? No?
I think it's a safe bet.
It does feel safe. It does feel safe. I don't think Chicago, Atlanta, or Washington is going to beat either one of those teams. So we got one game in Boston, Cleveland versus Boston. I'm going Boston. But what I am intrigued. So
Cleveland is on an unbelievable. So I don't think they
haven't lost.
That heater. They haven't lost. So they're due for a loss. They're due for an egg. They're going to drop. They lay an egg. Hopefully it's not on a Tuesday or Thursday night. But
they're winning games. Do you remember when the Warriors started off? Like they were like 25-3 or something crazy. The year they won 73, and they were winning games when they were like down 25.
The top teams that start off like under. I think it was like top was Golden State. I think 24-0 or something like that. And then somebody else was like 17. Dallas I think went 16, and then Cleveland's like 11 or 12. So yes, for the 24-0 is crazy.
That's
Cleveland's doing something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Nobody else is doing that in today's NBA anymore.
But they're
But
winning
Cleveland
like
is on
the
a heater.
weird games. So no team since 2000 has started 11-0 has won the title. So like they're not off
Yeah.
to a great start in terms of when they should have lost one of these. They should have dropped one of these if
Yes.
they wanted to win the
That's what I'm saying.
title.
They're due for dropping an egg.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They got to have
They're
an
gonna
egg.
lay an egg.
So they're my wild card team because I think they're coming out of this 4-1 or 3-1. They're beating the brakes off of Chicago, Atlanta, and Washington. Like they're just
Yeah.
I don't see them not doing it. The biggest thing I want to see though is I want to see what happens in pick and roll coverage in Boston. I want to see if they've done where they've played drop, and last year they played drop almost exclusively. That's what Bickerstaff, you've played for him. That's what he runs. But last year they were in that. This year I've seen soft switches. I want to see, do we put Mobley and Allen on an island? Do we run soft switches? Do we dare Boston to shoot the ball? I think that if it's Derek White in the pick and roll to me is one of the better guys right now. Like he's nails. If you go under, if it's a soft switch, like that thing is going up. He has a lot of green light right now. It's not quite neon, but it's not far away.
He's confident. He's very confident. Mind you, he's playing very well. Peyton Pritchard off the bench is great. I also would love to see when the hell is Porzingis coming back. We don't know. I think that dictates a lot to Al Horford being one of the main guys. Like I feel like that gas tank is coming.
Yeah,
it's like a quarter tank. You know what I'm saying?
It's,
like
it's a lot. They're gonna have to send him on a little vacation when Porzingis comes back.
Yeah.
Like they're gonna book like Punta Cana or something for him. They're gonna be like, go ahead, shut it down. Take a long weekend. Take the kids. Take the wife.
Winter break,
relax
before All-Star break. We need you. We need you for the playoffs.
Mid-winter break, go ahead. Tack 2 days on each end of the All-Star break. Like take your time out. Like go ahead, go home. Yeah. But either
solid
way,
pick, man. Safe pick.
I think that's the game that I'm most looking forward to in the East. Boston and Cleveland at Boston, playoff rematch. I think by the way, Garland's back.
They're playing well, man. Him and Don figured it out. And I think I give a lot of credit to Kenny Atkinson.
Did you ever play for Kenny?
I have not. I'd play for JB though. And I was still like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But whatever Kenny's figured out, said playing the two big, because they're too big and too small at the same time. The two littles with Darius and Don, and too big with Evan and Jarrett. They obviously have familiarity. They've been together for 3 years, so same group. But he seems to be figuring it out, and they're playing free and well and keeping that positive. I know there was times where guys were questioning things and not having the positivity. But yeah, I do like what Cleveland's doing. I think they're gonna surprise us in the playoffs this year.
I'm big in on Evan. I love Evan. I'm a sucker.
He's expanded his game. I wasn't sure if he had the personnel to do it. Like if he was getting the right player development there, he had the tools, but he seems to be trending in the right direction, and I like it.
I don't even care about the 3-point shooting. To me, I don't mind that. I'm a sucker for when you've got a big that is an above average passer, above average ball handler, and you let him grab and go. It's just
like
it's like an 18-wheeler coming down at you. Like that, the level of optionality that you can create when that guy can drive, when that guy can come into a DHO and not be a risk for fouls, like that's a Mack truck rolling down every single break. It's so different than if you have to hit ahead and go ball screen and you let the defense get set. I'm just a sucker for that. So the more that they lean into that, like the more they lean into Garland pick and roll, let Mitchell cook when he wants to. I'm way in on that. But that's the big game. All right, Group C in the West: Denver, Golden State, Dallas, Memphis, New Orleans. This gets a little less spicy with Ja being out. Hopefully he's back. But this group, Denver, Golden State, and Dallas, this is murderers row. This is going to be a cage match. This is awesome. Who you got coming out of it?
I got Golden State, man. They've been hooping. Absolutely balling. Denver said I think they lack the depth. I like Memphis as my wild card because I just high on them. They're the OKC of this group for me. Like they're just a young and gun, and they care for, like a good group. They just haven't been healthy in a year and a half. They can figure it out. I think they're going to be really good in the West. But
Memphis?
Golden State, yes, Memphis. But ultimately, Golden State's my pick for this. They have been, so they beat Boston in Boston. They just beat who else? They beat OKC the other night.
Beat the brakes off.
It was a good win. They beat the shit.
No, you can say
they beat the shit out of
earmuffs, children. Earmuffs.
Yeah, but I like what Buddy Hield's bringing off the bench. Slow-mo addition. DeAnthony Melton, 19 and 10 the other night. Hooping, and Steph, Steph being Steph, and you don't have to be Steph every night. You say like he had his 36 the other night, but even other games, he gets 20, 24. Like He's just like, he don't have to carry. It doesn't seem like he has to because they're so deep. Kuminga, Draymond, like those guys are playing their roles well, and they're hitting threes and they're defending the three very well.
Mm-hmm.
So I like what they're bringing to the table, man, and they're just hooping, bro.
They're defending too. Only team left in the league top 5 offense and defense. They're defending.
They're hooping.
To me, they're one of the more fun watches because even though like you hear all the heckling about like the game is the same and all this other stuff,
they play good basketball.
They play awesome basketball. They are
San Antonio Spurs, like like they're moving it, trusting each other, playing together, drive, kick, swing. Like it's not one-on-one, throw it in the post. Some one guy go for pick and roll, or watch this guy in the Karl Malone spot go one-on-one. It's basketball. It's very good basketball.
It doesn't matter if they shoot a 3, if they shoot a layup, if they shoot a midi. It's coming from great process. Like they play basketball, and
they don't care who shoots it. They don't. It's the best shot we can get for our group. And this team, surprisingly, most people want to pick them. They're going to be very good in the regular season, and I think in the playoffs.
Yes,
be a team nobody wants to see in the playoffs. Man.
They were.
If they continue this.
Yeah,
if guys continue to shoot this. Like you need Buddy to continue to shoot well.
I mean, like Buddy's going to shoot well. Like, and if Buddy doesn't shoot well, he's going to shoot himself out of not shooting well. Because Buddy ain't never met a shot he didn't like.
Exactly. He's getting open looks. The biggest thing is those guys hitting the stride at the right time. They play defense well enough. If they can continue to have those guys shooting confidently, even slow-mo hitting some shots. Like I said, Kuminga hitting some threes. If they can continue to make those shots, this team could be in the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah. This is what I love about them because like we were talking about, they play basketball. All right. Like according to Second Spectrum, all this stuff. So passes for the season, they're number 2 in passes. And then off-ball screens, they're number 3 in off-ball screens. Like they have one of the top 5 offenses, and it's not based off pick and roll. It is based off panic thinking opportunities. One thing that I love with the off-ball screens is there's a moment where 2 come together and you're forced to communicate who has who, and they bring shooting to the equation, not only with like whether it's one guy in there, but if it's like Buddy and Steph, like, yeah, right. Good luck. Like try talking your way through that one. Anytime you have those moments where you give the defense an opportunity to mess up, when you have those panic thinking opportunities, they play from that. So like, whereas OKC is using drives to create rotations, they're using these off-ball screens. They're using these panic thinking moments. And to me, it's how they read defenses that's so good. I have so many clips of Buddy and Steph reading whether it's top lock. They're willing to take the back door. They're willing to take, like, they're not forcing actions to be like, I gotta shoot. They're willing.
They have a counter for everything.
Yes. They're good because
they're okay with it.
They're willing to take what the defense gives them and play from that. And then the defense, I think it's real. Like, I mean, obviously you've heard talk of like Steve Kerr, like sitting everybody down. They have like 12 guys, 11 guys who play. I think that there's a point where it gets shortened, but like right now, like if you don't defend, you're not playing. And like all those guys know that. So like you're not getting, you've played, like November isn't a time where it's like, hey man, like we really need to, like, we're going to be locked in playoff rotation coverages, but like they're there. Cause if you're not there, like, hey, sir, please present this new Oracle bench chair that you're going to really love, like, or Chase Center, whatever it is. Yeah. Second in deflections on the year, like they play defense.
Yeah. I love the fact that they also can do this without exerting a lot of energy because of the depth.
Yeah.
This is a team, so they don't have to like, oh, we have to have these guys playing it. No, they don't have to do all that. Where Lakers, Bron, AD have to play a lot of minutes. They have to,
they got to play great too.
They have to play great. Steph said he can be Steph when he wants to. Obviously, he's going to be Steph, but he is okay with not having to shoot every time, just drawing attention, getting guys open.
Is he the number? If Ant is like, I'd love to go pay to watch Anthony Edwards play, but is Steph the number 1 draw in the league? Like Danny's in the 7th grade in Long Island, New York. Like the Golden State Warriors are coming to Brooklyn and New York on a back-to-back. Like, is that the one where you're like, I need to find my way into the city for that?
Yeah. So it's, for me, I think the difference, the only thing that Steph is missing is the dunks. So for young kids, they want to see the high flying. That's why Anthony Edwards and John Morant, like, because Ant could do threes and dunks. Steph is mostly threes, but he is, of course, every kid knows he's more relatable.
Yeah. He's super relatable.
I don't have to be able to dunk. I have to jump 40 inches. Like I have dreams to go in the NBA, and it's a possibility. Why? Because Steph Curry has done it, and he's not the biggest guy. He's not the fastest. He's not jumping the highest, but he handles the ball unbelievable, sees the floor, and can shoot the ball from everywhere, anywhere.
He's my favorite.
And so that's why a lot of kids relate to him.
He's
They
one
wanna
that
watch him.
well, first off, they need to watch TJ McConnell. That's probably the most relatable.
Yeah.
Go watch
Surprisingly,
TJ. He can't shoot outside the paint. Like go watch TJ
is
if you want to be
fast as
relatable.
hell, and he actually can jump pretty. Like his
He's
release
super
on the shot
athletic.
is high. He's very athletic. So, but he's a guy you can watch. But there's a lot of guys that you can watch that are relatable, that aren't the most athletic. Even LaMelo is another one. You know what I'm saying? Like
Stop.
he's not super athletic.
We don't
so
need the youth of America learning
Just
how to
saying.
play basketball
That's
like
why they-
LaMelo.
No, but
No.
they love him because he's like he plays street ball and he can pass, he can shoot.
That's
but
like
he
the
doesn't have to be super
TikTok
athletic.
generation. Like we don't want to
Yeah.
play serious basketball. We would like to watch OTE and highlights. Like they like LaMelo. Like that
They do.
ends
why
when
kids love him.
serious that ends when serious basketball starts. Like
Yeah.
sorry. All right, so we have our group winners here now. Most disappointing team. Most team likely to disappoint. I'm going to kick this off because I think this is probably the lowest hanging fruit from the East. The Milwaukee Bucks. They are favored. They're somehow they are still favored to win Group B. I don't know what's going on. Well, I have a theory on what's going on, but do you want to start or should I start? Because I feel like I should start.
I
I'm
agree
gonna
with
start.
you. There's a lot of theories, and there's things are coming out from different places, and I think ultimately
the scuttlebutt?
Channing Frye hit it on the head. Mostly the best way, the safest, politically correct way to say it is that they just don't trust each other yet. All the way around.
Yeah.
I mean, because Doc is still very new there. He came there end of the season last year, so he's had half a season with them. And the players,
he had a
they still
whole
have new
off
players.
season.
Yeah,
you can't
how
say
many
it's
games
like,
are you playing in off season?
Well, can you? Okay, so just from devil's advocate. So would you say that like the Cavs don't trust, like, because Kenny Atkinson's only been there, like they don't trust?
So
no, like he
combination
came
of
in
both.
but Kenny Atkinson came in and said, "This is our path. This is what we're doing."
Yes,
Like the
but
players were like,
Cleveland
"That makes
added-
total sense." They were like, "This makes total sense. We can get down with that. Like we're gonna run through a wall doing this because this process makes sense." Like, so
Yes.
did Doc come in and all of a sudden, like,
I will say this:
we're not gonna hold him to
I
the
will
same
say this,
standard?
and there's multiple facets when it comes to trust. When it comes to this group of Milwaukee, it's not just a coaching change; it is a lot of player change as well. So they not only got a new coach, but they had different. Cleveland has the same team. I don't think they brought anybody new in. George Niang's back, Isaac Okoro's back. They have Evan. Their whole group has been there for the last 3 years, 2-3 years. So they have more. Only thing they had to change was the coaching, and the coaches adapts to the players. Like, oh, this is what you guys been doing. Okay, we'll add this and we'll change this. But they already knew each other. I will say this. Yes, you may not have to adapt to these guys. You have to adapt with the personnel. You do. You have to adapt to who you have on the floor. You have to adapt to who was brought in. Those guys have to adapt to Giannis. They have Bobby Portis, and you have to adapt to Chris Middleton being out. So these guys have more of an attitude. Now, I'm not saying trying to make excuses. Yes, there's
a lot like excuses.
There's a lot of things to blame on these things, but to compare them to Cleveland, who has the same group together, they have to trust not only each other, trust the coach. There's a lot of different trust that they don't. It's not.
They don't have trust.
Relating.
They don't believe in the
not
process.
The trust that they need. They don't believe in either whether it's the group they have coming off the bench and the coaching staff. I think it's a number of things. It's just like Giannis has to trust in the bench. Dame has to trust in the coaching staff. All these things play a part. And ultimately, when it comes down to it, I don't know if anybody's believing in the process or in each other. No. It's like, it's like at this point, when you could see it happen, you need a positive, and this might sound crazy, they're probably missing Thanasis a little bit. You need that positive energy where somebody's just on the sideline yelling, "Let's go, get it together." You know what I'm saying? Like, you need some, because you drop 2 or 3 games.
Are they cutting you a check?
They're in a gloomy space. They could be in a gloomy space where it's like, damn. What? We ain't shit right now. We're losing. We suck. Just like the Cowboys, they're probably in a mental state of, damn, now they lost Dak. But once you get in that mental state, you need somebody positive to get that back on track. You need somebody in the locker room to police the locker room and make sure that. And no, not cut me a check. I think they're very bad right now, and I don't know why they're the favorites. Vegas is tripping. Sense. This is a bet that I would say if I was a gambling guy, I would definitely bet against this team not winning.
All right, let me give you some second spectrum stuff on them, because I think their offense is by far the biggest problem. I think it's incredibly slow. I think it's not optimized around the right person. And then not only is it not around the right person, but that right person, when he has the moment, isn't making the right decision. So drives per game, 27. It's so slow. They have compared to OKC, who's the top team with 633. They're 383. It's so slow. They're not cracking the shell. Passes, you want to be, if you're cracking the shell, you're making passes. So passes, they're 21st, not good at passing the ball. Golden State, again, a team that knows exactly who they are. They're about 500 passes behind them. So they're not getting downhill. They're not cracking the shell. They're not putting teams in rotation. They're not making passes. And then off ball screens, the moment where you can have panic thinking opportunities, they're dead last in the league. So
they're doing all on ball stuff,
all on ball. 10 eyes.
Doc doesn't do many pin down, like, that's it. Mind you, so my question to
so
you
it's
is,
it's so stale.
Who should be starting? Like, what are they doing, and what should they be like? Who should be starting offense? They should be run through.
It should be Giannis at all times, and to me,
Dame a little bit,
and Dame second unit. Like it should be staggered. Where like the Portland offense is what Dame wants to run, and it's with Brook Lopez pick and roll, and like so give him the second unit, let him run that, and then when it's the first unit, when Giannis is on the court, it needs to be Giannis hub, Giannis centric.
Pushing
Dame, it needs to be more DHOs, and Giannis can do a better job. Like there has to be a sit down to say, like, this is the way we can crack the shell the easiest. Like there has to be a mindset shift in Giannis where this is focused around you, but we need you to facilitate. We need you to play make. We need you to run the offense with pace because like it's so slow, it's so stale. And when we talked about Evan Mobley or Sabonis or Jokic or Bam, like coming down, like having a big that can push the ball, they're Giannis is Optimus Prime. He is the top level of that. Like him with the ball in his hands
creates it's the definition of it.
Yes, it's the most fear.
Created a Giannis wall for him.
Yes,
so
you have to load it up.
Teams have to do that.
There's so many opportunities for him to go into DHOs. There's so many opportunities to find shots, and they can find the shell cracked because it has to compress so much. They can find shots easier, but it has to be a mindset shift of this is who we are. This is what they're doing. It's got to get away from on-ball screens with 10 eyes focused on Dame because it's just the speed isn't there to get the shell moving.
I agree. I'm with you. Not many things we agree on, but I'm with you on this one, man. This is
how many things in 20 years have we agreed on? Like 6, 7, maybe?
Good 25%.
That's not a bad stat.
It's not bad. It's growing. We're getting there about 35.
Us and Bridges shooting about the same percentage here.
So my biggest disappointment team for the West is OKC because, mind you, Chet is out. I made this disappointment pick before Chet got hurt, but I just thought they were a good team, but I just think they were not gonna exceed or meet the expectations of being the winning group or winning out of their group or winning this tournament. I said I think they're still trying to figure some things out with injuries. I know Isaiah has been out. Alex Caruso coming off the bench, still figuring it out. I just think they would just have a bad Tuesday night one day, and I just thought they would lose, or a Thursday night, a random Thursday night. It could be who knows where, but they lose that game for some reason. But now with Chet being out, this pick even makes more sense. But they are favorites to win the group and also probably win out the tournament. They're just the biggest disappointment just by default because they have the highest expectation and they're not going to meet. I just don't think. I said if you had a disappointing group in the West, there wasn't many teams that would, early on it was Denver, but Denver's picked it up. They've been better. But I just think, because OKC is expected to win, Denver's expected to win their group too. So Denver's right behind them.
Yeah.
Those two are probably my disappointing groups in this tournament.
Denver, can we talk about Jokic for a second? Can I give you some Jokic numbers?
His last couple game stats have been ridiculous. 30 numbers? And 20 and 18, something crazy.
This is Jokic for the season. So like a guy that's won 3
Were his last 2 games at home? Were they at home?
Yeah. So when he's in Denver, it's like the hibachi grill, and he's got it's Emperor's Delight. Everybody's getting Emperor's Delight. He's got free shrimp coming to everybody. He's just dishing it out. All right. So Jokic for the season, 30, 14, and 12. Leading the league in rebounds and assists. Touches per game, 116. He's averaging 1.202 points per touches, direct touches from second spectrum.
Yeah.
What?
No, it's unbelievable, bro. I said his last 2 games put him in the world. Like, people had the argument, Cat is just as skilled as Jokic, if not more skilled. A lot of people are eating those words and thinking, I was pretty dumb for saying that. Like, Cat is a very good big, don't get me wrong. But after that was said, and Jokic put up these 30 and 20, and then 16, like, it's video game stats.
He's ridiculous.
Might say they might be doing some funny stuff over there in Denver, but you
think they give him a little a little something.
I think everybody in the history of the game has done some little bit of pad. Thinking about MJ, did a little bit of pad. Even Russ and OKC, there's a little bit of padding. And it might be one or two here, there, a couple assists, or maybe 2 rebounds. But ultimately, they're impacting the game unbelievably and putting up those numbers. Even if it was 2 or 3 assists, 2 or 3 rebounds off, that's still a wild night. You know what I'm saying? They're not changing the points. You can't sway the points. His points are his points. But the rebounds and assists, unbelievable.
Yeah. Like right now, if Calvin Booth called you, how long would it take you to get ready?
I tell him I need at least 2 weeks. Like I need
2 weeks. But like right now, could you go start in Denver and like with Jokic, could you get like 11 a game, 12 a game?
Bro, what? Are you stand in the corner, run corner to corner and hit I would say 9. Let's say 9. 11 is doubles. I would give you 8 to 9 a game.
How many minutes could you give with Jokic? Like
I'm only I can at this point in age, I can only give you at max 25 minutes a game. So 25 minutes. 25. I'm getting maybe 6 or 7 attempts. I have to hit half of those. I can give you 8, 9 points.
Would you still be able to like actually cut to the basket though? Because like he's not gonna like if you're just standing. Yeah, like he's gonna need you to cut.
I can cut.
Okay.
I could. So if I'm able 2 or 3 weeks where I can get in shape. Because corner to corner, same thing. And most of the time, it's taking the defense with me. I'm flattening out the defense so that Jamal could work or whoever can work. Jokic has space. They double. I'm being the threat that you better not double. I'm knocking it down.
You can hold somebody in a one eye. Right, you can hold that low man help for a second.
Yeah, for sure, 100%. I cut to the basket.
Is there anybody you'd rather play with right now than him?
No, I'm trying to think. There's nobody else
he's top of the line. Like anybody that no, you wouldn't rather play with Luka, would you? Like you want to touch the ball.
I just think yes, but I think they're both the same in the fact that you're going to get a lot of open looks.
Yeah,
I think Clay's looks is way different than it was in Golden State. Even though Steph is great, but like it was just him and Steph. But he's getting him and Kyrie together. The traction that they draw.
Yeah. Nobody else gets the touch.
Najee Marshall's like getting. You know what I'm saying? He's playing great basket. He's getting good looks.
Yeah. Jokic is like so. When I had a guy that played with Jokic, I would do film calls. Sometimes Jokic would like walk by and be like, "Oh, what are you doing?" And like there would be a play with him. We'd be talking about like a DHO or like top locks or something. And like he would just hop on. Like he has no idea who I am, no idea what we're doing, but like he would see it. He would just hop on, like put an earbud in, and he'd be like, "Yeah, this." I would like talk to him, and he'd be like, "Yeah, this." I'd be like, "This is yeah." Like he just like he knew he could instantly pick it up. He would know what he was thinking in the moment because it would be a play with him.
Was it? As Ant Edwards on the podcast, did you see when he said?
Oh, like the play that he called out
our whole play. He saw our lineup. He came on the floor and said, "This." He barely speaks fucking English. This is gonna go here. This guy's coming off. Be ready for this. This and him and Rudy are looking at him like, "What the? This guy knows our whole play."
He's the best.
He knew what was happening. That just shows you why. Not only is he skilled and talented, but his IQ is unbelievable.
He's off the charts.
What he wants, what he needs, and whatever people are doing.
He's the most fun
without looking at the times. Like you're supposed to be there.
He just knows.
In that damn corner when
I think JJ and on LeBron's pod where they talked about court mapping, but like I would talk to guys about, especially like if you're in a split action, like say we're running like you're at the elbow, we're running a split, like you don't need to see the guy in the corner. You just or like if you're coming off a pick and roll and like the lob isn't there and it's you don't have to know the guy is there. You
where
just
guys are going.
You just have to know that like
behind me.
Yes, if low man help is there, it can only be coming from one place. It can't be coming from up on the break. It has to be in the corner. And like I think he does such a good job of like he reads where help defenders are and knows if help is here, then offensive player is there. Like he doesn't have to.
And you better be there.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're not there, he's like yo.
Yo, what the hell are we doing?
My favorite,
and I think that's part of the struggle because some of the young guys, Watson, Strother, like those guys,
they're getting up to speed though.
Yeah, because they're doing well.
I think he's
same with Luka. Some of the guys with Luka, like they're cutting when they're not supposed to cut. He's like, "Yo, stay in the corner. Just be ready. It's gonna get there. Maybe they're late. But it's gonna stay there."
And it feels like Jokic has realized like this is what it is, and like there's no longer like any hey like. You're out of here. Like bring Aaron Gordon back. Like he knows this is what he's got, and so he's like bringing him along in a different way than if Aaron Gordon was there, or if KCP is there, and like those guys, like Mike Malone is going to take care of that. Like, hey, come sit next to me. Let me tell you, I'm not going to mess with Jokic. You can have Aaron back.
is a true leader. He's a
Yeah.
good leader, and he knows what he's. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not everybody's good at being able to talk to certain guys, maneuver, and encourage them.
You know what he
You
does?
can see
This is
that.
my last Jokic thing, and then we'll get on out of here. But there was a point when Torrey Craig was there, and Jokic does this thing where like he subtly lets you know where you stand in his pecking order of actions you're allowed
Yeah.
to run with him. So Torrey Craig
Yeah.
used to always want to run like empty corner DHO stuff.
Oh,
So
DHO.
yeah. So Jokic would come that way, and Torrey would come, and then Torrey's guys going under all the time, and Jokic would just send him through. He would never give him DHOs because he'd be like, "You get out of here. This is my post up
You
now."
don't need.
And like Torrey at some point, like you could see him just getting a little bit more hurt. But Jokic was like, "No, I'm sorry, you are not going to shoot behind, and if you're not going to shoot behind, you don't get to touch it." And he would give him he gave him like one or two like early on to see like
see how it goes.
Are you going to shoot this if they go under? And he wouldn't shoot it. And Jokic was like, you know what, this is done. You can now come this way only so you can get out of here and I'm allowed to post. Okay, so bye, Torrey. It was one of the funnier things. And every time Torrey eventually knew, he's like, oh man, all right.
Yeah, well,
yeah,
smart players, man.
Yeah,
I would have said it one day. I would have said I would love to have played with him, and he's probably right now the only guy left in the league.
We'll text Calvin. Calvin, get on the phone. He can be ready.
I haven't signed the papers yet.
Yeah, you haven't signed the papers.
But I'm in a space now where it's this new NBA. It's a different place.
You've already got another job. You're doing the Low Man Help podcast. Yeah, you've got another job. I'm sorry. You're here. We've hired you. We're paying you absolutely nothing, but you're doing it because a friend in need is a pest, and you're here.
Yeah, and this is fun, man. I'm learning about gambling. It's expanding my talents in many various ways of doing media.
Wonderful transition. So we have a season-long competition with ourselves, with Vegas. We have played in the NBA for, what'd you do, 15?
Yeah, technically 15.
15. I have coached players as a shooting coach for the past 6, worked with game tape constantly. So we would get hit up all the time of, yo, what about this? What about this? And I will say my friends were always nice because they would never ask me anything about the players who I was working with or their teams. They would always ask about some random team, another place. And I was just crunching so much film. Most of the time I would never give any advice. Sometimes I'd be like, oh, well, I don't know, maybe. But it is one of those things where now that we're out of it, we are seeing if we are better than Vegas. So we have started...
Good luck to us.
Yeah, good luck to us. We have started in our classic Rounders fashion. Danny is, if you haven't seen Rounders, Danny is the Knish of most people's life. He is dependable. He is always willing to let you know, like, this is not a good decision. He is risk adverse. And when you fall, he's usually the one there to say, hey, like, come here, I got you, give you a little pep talk. So this is our Knish. We are living by Knish rules where you can only have 10% of your bankroll at risk at any moment. We are staying disciplined, and we're, they're KGB. We're walking into KGB's place. Every time I open the app and they do the little face thing, I always think it's KGB. Like they're letting me know you're in. So we're 2 weeks in now. We've had I would say a decently successful first 2 weeks. We're not far behind off the pace of success, but it's a new experience. I feel like the thing that I've noticed the most is that Vegas is smart, and the place where people get caught up is like, I look through how much money is on each one, like percentages. People love betting overs. They have this like optimistic view, like it's usually like 70%, like everything is over. People want to cheer for things, like, and I think I'm a little bit more I don't want to say pessimistic, but I'm a little less.
You're an under guy.
I'm a little less optimistic than people. Like, I'm not scared to hit an under here or there. I also feel like I've found myself being way more brutal on, I think it's easier to diagnose, like, a team is coming out, if they play up at the level coverage, well, like, I don't want to take an over on a guard that's going to be blitzed every time in the pick and roll. Like, so I found that, but I honestly have no clue. I'm confused about all of it. We're just throwing darts in the dark right now, but this is our season long run at it, and we'll see how we do.
I think we're going to do well, man. We're going to be fine. But best of luck to the teams out there in the Cup games. Those are tuning in, good luck with your gambling. Enjoy the games.
This is our
If you
first
take our
one.
advice, cool. If we're wrong, don't cuss us out. But yes, we
All right.
appreciate y'all tuning in.
I love it. So this is our first episode. We didn't do bad, and in the wise words of Worm, I'll see you when I see you, Daniel.
There you go.
All right, buddy. Later.